like a lower age group. So yeah, I'm going to talk more on that. Hobbies. I have interest in community building. Some people on this call will know me from People in Products, so I'm very heavy on community building. I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy playing, of course, and that has really like helped me building for kids because I enjoy playing. So, and also, yeah, I consider myself as a wannabe foodie. I love food though, but anyway, yeah. And yeah, fun fact about me, I am ambidextrous. For some of us that don't know the meaning of ambidextrous, it means people that are very good in like using both hands. But the fun fact about me being ambidextrous is I can't use both hands for the same thing. Like what my left hand can do, my right hand can do. And what my right hand can do, my left hand can do. Some people might find it strange. I actually used to find myself strange, like the strange type of ambidextrous, until recently where I met someone exactly like me, like a few months ago. So that is Bridget. So I'm going to dive right into the topic for today, which is building digital products for kids. So just to bring us to speed on to why we are doing this, why are we so interested in the approach it takes for building products for kids. Kids, as they say, they have like wide, crazy imagination, and their minds are quite fascinating and yeah, really inspiring, I will say. So building for them takes an intricate process. You might say, why does it take an intricate process? Well, we fail to understand that because of these kids, they don't really like work based on like logic and experience. Because take for instance, let's say you're building for a population for 5 years old or 6 years old. These people have only lived on Earth for like 6 years. So they don't really have a lot of like logical experience to back that up. And you have so much logic and experience, you know so much, and that might block your mindset when you want to like build for this particular set of audience. So it's not that easy. So it takes an intricate process because you don't really take into account their age, but you also need to also take account their physical, emotional, and cognitive skills. I saw a quote while I was working on this presentation. It says, as adults, we have outgrown our childish selves, making it really hard for us to grasp the universe kids roam in. And this was by Maurice Wheeler, who is a chief strategy officer at Kids Industries. And that's actually the truth, because as adults, we have really outgrown our childish self. And it takes you as a product manager or a product designer or a startup founder or whoever you are that you want to like work in this space to bring yourself back into like the mindset of a child, because these are the people you're building for. You're building for your users. You need to do it such a way that the experience captures what they're expecting. And that's why it's a little bit difficult. That is why I'm looking into this topic, taking you through, okay, what is the different approach building for this set of users, which are kids. So before I get right into it again, first of all, we need to like understand what is the difference build for kids and build for adults. Some of us are already used to be what's the difference if I want to build for a kid. So I came up with these little kid differences. So as a kid, let's take for instance challenges. As a kid, kids, they love challenges regardless of the goal. They just love it. They want to like solve a puzzle. I don't know if you have encounter or you have been in the presence of kids. If you give them like puzzles or challenges, they're always very excited. Hide and seek, all this kind of like really challenging tasks, because I have young ones and they love like hide and seek games, playing like puzzle games and stuff like that. As adults, we're like, on the other hand, we don't really enjoy difficulty when completing tasks, because first of all, Nigeria as a whole, people that are in Nigeria right now, Nigeria is hard. You want to give me tasks that is hard. Like, what's the joy in it? Well, kids, they find joy in like some little challenges, like puzzles, solving puzzles and stuff like that. But adults, on the other hand, we don't enjoy that. For instance, just imagine you want to make a payment for a product, let's say on Jumia, and it's taking you through different puzzles. You need to like unlock a particular box before you get to the next screen. Like, what's happening here? Is this Big Brother challenge that they are saying? I don't understand what's happening here, because we don't really have like so much time. But these kids, like, where are they rushing off to? They have only lived in this world for like 5 years. They don't really have a lot they're thinking of, so they have time. So they love challenges. Another key difference is feedback. So adults, on the other hand, we prefer getting feedback, let's say at the point of success or failure. Okay, I put in my ATM card, my ATM machine, I input my PIN. Is it successful? Is it not successful? You want to know, okay, am I getting money? Am I not getting money? You just want to know. Just imagine, okay, you put in your ATM card and tell you, well done. You punch in your PIN and say, well to go, good punching. You'll be like, what's happening here? Like, what's really going on? But kids, they enjoy getting feedback. They love getting feedback. They want to, like, even sounds, animation, they click a button. Like, wow, like, lovely, interesting. Like, if you really, like, take some time, like, observe little ones around you, you'll see their expression when they get, or you get to hear sounds. Or you even notice, like, toys that they make for kids, you always hear, like, there's always, like, a sound, like, coming out from it. Like, if they on, like, a car or a Superman and it says, oh, something exciting, they're always really happy about it. So kids enjoy getting feedback when interacting with apps. They love it. Another difference is trust. So over time, adults, because of our experience, some people, as they have been stabbed in the back, I can't lie to you, they have been stabbed in the back, and we're really mindful of things. Even right now, I think I was reading someone on Twitter, they say even with the rate of digital banking or all these non-traditional like banking apps, a lot of people still have money in, let's say, First Bank, Zenith Bank. How many people will like put a whole lot of like substantial amounts in, let's say, a Kuda Bank, for instance, or a Piggyverse? The trust issue is still there. Like, let this money come and jack out my money. Like, you're really like mindful. But kids, they trust more than adults, and that is why you always see parents telling their kids or adults telling them, "Oh, don't talk to strangers. Don't leave the house. Come back from school. Come home straight when you come back from school. Don't branch anywhere," because kids tend to trust more. And this is important because when you are also building such products, you need to be able to put in like privacy settings, because these kids are not the one that will purchase this app by themselves. Parents will do that, and parents are very mindful of their kids' safety. So you need to also put that into account when you're building or designing the product for this particular set of audience, for the parents, because parents are also like a key player when building for kids, and this is something you need to also put in the back of your mind. Parents are also a key player when building for kids. And lastly, change. Adults are usually like consistent in terms of cognitive like capacity. Like, okay, they can like be used to a particular process for a period of time. Yeah, although we know that change is constant, but for a period of time, adults can be like consistent. But kids tend to change pretty quickly, even as they get older. And this is very important, because when building for kids, some people are like, when I'm building for kids, okay, let me just build something that works. But you need to put it in the back of your mind that you need to like be able to like narrow down your users, like user persona. When you say kids, it's not all kids. A 5-year-old is different from an 8-year-old. You need to put that like, because I'm going to explain this deeper, like in terms of this different age group, as we go on. So the reason I'm saying this is 5 years old, they kind of like outgrown like childish stuff. Like, oh, you hear like a 8-year-old will say, I'm not a child anymore. 8-year-old will tell you I'm not a child anymore. But in your eyes, you see them like a child. So they outgrown some certain things. So you need to be able to like keep up with them. But adults, you can group a particular user persona. You can say, okay, I'm building this digital app for the age range of between 18 to 34. And yeah, they have like similarities. Oh, let me not go too far. You can hear millennials, Gen Zs. You hear Gen Zs, they're between the age of group of, let's say, 1996 to 2005. That's like 10 years age range, like together. You hear baby boomers, like 20 years and all of. They can group these people and say, okay, these people act this certain way. You can't do that when you're building for kids. You can't group 5 years old with 11 years old. Believe me, because if you really look at it closely, if you have like a 5-year-old and 11-year-old, you notice that the kind of games they play is different. The kind of way they act is different. So you need to be able to understand, okay, break it into bits. When building for kids, you need to like break it into subsets. And I'm going to walk you through it. And yeah, you might say, okay, it's like there are so many differences building for kids and for adults. There's still some similarities. So it's not like I'm telling you to throw away everything you know about adults or building for this set of users when you're building for kids. Some similarities are like, I didn't put it down here, but I can quickly mention it. Similarities like purpose. As an adult, if I'm using your particular product, and this is something we teach product managers, what is the USP? Like, what's the unique selling point for that product? What's the unique selling proposition? What are you offering users for that particular product? Are you saying, oh, with this fitness app, I'll be able to check my how many steps I've been able to take and stuff like that? Like, you need to be able to like define the value, and also time to value too for your products. If you're building such for adults, they need to be able to say, okay, I'm using your app, I'm able to like quickly detect, okay, what the purpose of that app is. And if your users don't really know the value or what that purpose of your app is, without you like really telling them or showing them or stuff like that, in a way you have failed as a product manager, or your product has failed. The same with kids. They need the app you're building. If it's like a game app for like for myself, I build learning products. If I'm building an app to help them with like, let's say, math problems and stuff like that, it needs to be clear in terms of assets, the type of features that I put in that app. It needs to be clear. I can't be building up a product that solves math problem and I'm adding, let's say, how to slice fruits inside the app. Like, I know people know like the fruit slicing app and stuff like that. I add like that to my game. Like, first of all, the purpose is already confusing. So kids and adults are like that. They need to be able to understand the purpose. And also surprises too. I know we like adults, we don't like too much of like surprises. Let's say, yeah, let me use the example again of the ATM machine. I am going to the ATM machine, I put in my ATM card, I put in my PIN, I press in the money I want. I expect money to come out from the ATM machine. If I see something like, oh, great, wonderful, do you want to try again? Or something completely different from your expectations, I'll be like, what's happening here? Like, this is not what I was expecting. Also with kids, don't make them do a certain thing and you already led them on in a particular part and you just bring out something completely different. Like, they don't, in that type of surprises, they don't really like that. Let's say, for instance, they have unlocked so much prizes and they have added it to, like, let's say their treasure chest in the app. They expect to go to the treasure chest and see all the gems or all the coins they've unlocked. Don't let them get there and they don't see it. So like Kile Shelibaye. I hope I spoke this Yoruba well. I'm still trying to learn my Yoruba. So they don't really like surprises. So these are like two key things I can think of at the moment that in terms of similarities between kids and adults. Yeah. So I'm going to go through the different user group. Remember I spoke about you can't group kids together. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm building for kids and your app serves all kids. It's like, it's kind of, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's kind of very like impossible that this particular product they're building, a 9-year-old will love it the same way a 5-year-old will love it, because these users, these kids, these little humans, they are quite different. So I'm going to walk you through, like, I kind of like did it like a subset because it helps. And for my research, when I was like building for this group of users, I learned this. I knew that, okay, I can't build this product and say, okay, this product is for everybody. I tried that. I actually tried that because, you learn by mistake and stuff like that. I tried that and I built a particular app. I said, oh, I think the name of the app, the name of the app is Is Life. I said, okay, this app is for users between the age group of 4 to 10. I pushed it out. Age group 4 to 10, anybody can use it between this age group. I gave it to my 9-year-old. They're like, what's this? This is for babies. And they're always quick to say this is for babies. You see small little kids be saying this is for babies. Like, how do they even differentiate babies? A 4-year-old be telling you, oh, this is for babies. 4-year-old be telling you this is for babies. Like, I don't understand. So yeah, it's actually for babies. So you need to understand, okay, what appeals to this set of users? What appeals to this other set of users? And you can do something, okay, let me add challenges so that it speaks to 9-year-old and a 3-year-old will be confused by it because it's a little bit too challenging for them. So you need to understand, okay, the first thing you need to do is, okay, who are you building for? You need to streamline your target audience. This product is still going to be focused for age group of, let's say, 1 to 2, like I did here. It's still going to be for between the age, let's say, 3 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 12. I didn't speak much about from 10 to 18 because 10 to 18 is like teenagers, and the focus of this section is building digital products for kids. So yeah, let's start with the 1 to 2 year old. So these are like the toddlers, these are like the babies. Yeah. So this group of users, I kind of like classify them as from research, they are known as the copycats because they are, of course, they're new to the world. They just came out, so they don't really know a lot that is happening. So that they are like natural explorers, and they tend to copy whatever they see. And you can also, if you, as I'm talking about this, just try to picture, like if you have any younger ones or you have stayed with any, that you have kids around, just try to like picture all of these attributes I'm describing. I try to see if you have noticed it from kids around you within this particular age group. This particular age group 1 to 2, they don't really know a lot. They can't even differentiate between what is real and what is not real. They are just they're testing everything. So they like to mirror what they see. They touch everything. That's why you're like, you can't keep this thing here. You see your child, you carry the remote and put it in their mouth because they're trying to test, okay, is this one ice cream? Is this one baby milk? Okay, it's not baby milk. They drop it. So they click on everything. They get distracted quickly. They are clumsy because they have not quite developed like motor abilities or motor skills. So they are grips. They can't really like grip a lot of stuff. So they are clumsy. They like to mirror what they see. They like to touch everything touchable. Like I'm like, God. The sweet thing about this is I have nephews and nieces within the different age group here, so I can like picture it and I've experienced it myself. And as I'm talking about it, like I said, just try to see if you have experienced all of this. They touch everything they see. They click on everything. Like if they give them a phone now, they're clicking everything that is just there. You notice that they have sent a mail to your boss that I'm not doing it again. Don't worry, I'm not doing it again. Take my resignation letter. I'm joking. But they click on everything. Then do you have like the 3 to 6 years old? These are the preschoolers. So don't mind me when I use preschooler. Let's say those are in pre-KG. Yeah. So this set of users are they're just getting into let's say school, because some parents tend to put their kids, because I have my sisters will be like, I'm tired, they cannot come and kill me at home. Let me just go and drop them in school. If they can stay in school from 9 to 1, it will do me some good. Let me just rest. So people tend to put their kids within this age at let's say kindergarten or pre-KG. Like, so at this particular age, they're also like learning how to talk. And at this stage, they're kind of moving away from the age group where they were like toddlers, like the 1 to 2 years. Now they are like they're curious about a lot of things. They're curious about everything. And this particular age group, man, is sweet. Because they are starting to talk and they are curious and they ask a lot of questions. I don't know if you have kids within this age of like, why is the sky blue? Why are we tall? Why are humans tall? Why is mommy big? Why is daddy this? Like, they are curious. They want to know everything because they're just getting a little bit like logical, but they're not yet like they're not there yet. So they're still curious. They're asking a lot of questions. Why is this that? Why is that this? And they also get easily sidetracked too, because don't forget, kids have like low attention span, and this is important when beauty for them, because I'll speak more on that in terms of like the low attention span thing. So they also get easily sidetracked, and this is also where they start to initiate play with their peers, because now some of them, they are like in gatherings with other kids and stuff like that. And this age group, they're all about playing. They love to create. At this age, you see some parents getting things like Lego blocks and stuff like that because, they want to create. You see that your kids, you carry like my nieces at this age, they'll come to my house, my bed, they'll carry the pillow, arrange it. They'll say they're building a house. Like, they're also imaginative. They want to create stuff. Anything that is available, they just want to create. So these are like for this particular age group. Now we're getting there gradually. And the younger these kids are, I can't relate to you, the more difficult to build for them, because it's a handful. So when they get older, it becomes a bit easier. It's not like it's easy, like it's not difficult, but man, it's a bit easier. And if that's why you notice that a lot of people don't even try to want to build for 1 to 2 years old, because it takes dedication, it takes passion, it takes you coming out from your head. Like some things that you'll be like, why are they asking this kind of question? Like, can't they see? Because you have grown, you have experience. That is why it makes sense to you. It doesn't make sense to them. So you need to be able to bring yourself down to that age. You need to be able to bring yourself down to that mindset to say, okay, if they will ask the stupidest or more stupidest question, you will laugh. You'll be able to like answer them, talk to them in words and languages they will understand. And I'm going to talk more on this. Beauty for kids is actually sweet. I can't lie to you. I've been enjoying the process, but yeah, like I said, you need to have like the passion for it. Then the primary schoolers, so these are like the big boys. These are the ones I'm telling you, I'm big. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not a baby. So these kids between this age group, the 6 to 8 years old, excuse me, they start to see that life is not all about magical fairies and stuff like that. Because I remember a time that my nephew that is 8 years old, he was talking to me one time. He was like, oh, Auntie Bridget, because I also have a niece that is about 5 or 5, 6, because she lost her tooth. And I don't know if you have noticed, kids between the ages of 6 to 8, that's the period that they used to lose their teeth. Like, I think I read it somewhere, because I'm like, oh, my niece's teeth, all her teeth, her front teeth, everything has gone. But they're growing back. You were like, oh, just imagine that, oh, Princess believes in tooth fairy. Like, what's that? I'm like, hey, you see, don't spoil their imagination. First of all, I say don't scatter, leave her to believe in tooth fairy. You see your tooth fairy. That's how I was talking to him. Like, oh, it's not my it's small. It's fine. Because at this point, like, not everything is magical anymore. Like, what's tooth fairy? But when they were at that age, they believed the tooth fairy. They'll move their teeth, keep it under that pillow, believing that money will come from somewhere. But anyway, at this particular stage again too, they start to value friendship. I don't know if you have experienced where they'll say, kids will be like, at this age group, they'll be like, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. You'll be like, okay, what's in it for me? I'm going to be your friend. They'll be like, they believe that friendship is so much like important. Like they value it so much that value more than money. They'll be like, oh, what's in it for me? They are willing to offer like their friendship because they believe like if I offer my time and everything, that's like everything for them. So they value friendship. All of these attributes I'm talking about, you're going to see the importance of all of this, because it's important to take note of all of this when you're building for this set of audience. I'm going to speak more on that. And also, they are more focused and they prefer finishing a task before moving on to the next. And they also enjoy picking up like new skills. All of this I'm going to speak on when you're taking all of these attributes into like designing for them. I'll talk about in the next slide. Then these are like the big boys and the big girls, the twins. Some of them are just getting into secondary school. I know my nephew that is 10 just got into GSS1 this STEM, and he's just feeling himself, feeling fly, like I'm in GSS1. I think when I was 11, that's when I got to GSS1. So this age group, some of them are very fast. It's not like those days that people will be like 15 before they get to GSS1. You can find an 8-year-old in GSS1 by this time. So this set of users, I call them the identity explorers, because they're trying to like find out who they are, who their friends are. Like, because some of them might have been hot. Remember, when they were 6, 8, they value friendship. Some of them might have been hot. Not it's not by I'll be your friend, will you be my friend? And because of that, automatically we're like besties. At this point, they're like, okay, they want to know who their friends are. They're on the mission of finding them out. Okay, what do I like? You see if you watch like all these white movies, you see some of them, they'll be like changing their hairstyle. Mommy, I want to cut my hair. I don't think this hair look good on me. I'm changing their glasses because they're trying to like, okay, look out for like what that style is. My nephew, if I want to deal with him that is 10-year-old, I'll be like, I'm going to cut your hair. He will start crying. He'll be like, no, this my hair makes me look cool. Like, mommy, please don't cut my hair. Auntie, please don't let mommy cut my hair. Because they take it so important. Like, that's their look. So they also like love being experts. God. They want to like prove to you, like, I know this thing. I know it more than my younger brother. I know it more than other people. They love being experts. And lastly, they can invest time into things of interest. So in terms of attention span, it's not as bad as 3-year-old. It's not as bad as 6 years old. It's not as bad as the 2-year-old. because yeah, they have grown, they have developed a bit of like logic in their thinking and all of that, so they can invest like more time into things. And if things are not challenging enough, like I spoke about, they just tend to be like, oh, there's nothing interesting. I've solved this puzzle already. What's there? Like, it's so easy. Remember, they love being experts, so they like challenging stuff, so they can invest time into things. So with all of this I've spoken about, I'm going to take that into designing for them. This is where you as like product managers, you as developers, you as product designers come into play. Like taking all of this I've just spoken about, how do you take that into your product? Yeah, so designing for your user. So I spoke about copycats. These are the types that like to mirror what they see. They like to click everything. So with all of this that I've mentioned, even when you're building for this set type of users, like I said, it's not easy building for the particular user. You know, people like run from it. They just start from 6. They play safe, start from 6. They leave 1 to 2 to people that are experts, passionate, that have time. But you can do it. I believe in all of you here. I believe that you guys can do it. I'm rooting for you. So I'm going to help you like get started. So if you want to build for this type of users, the copycats, you need to like create the right type of actions. Remember what I said, that they love clicking a lot of things. So if they click a particular thing, is there going to be like an animation? Is there going to be a particular type of sound? Remember, they get easily distracted and stuff like that. So you need to ensure that, okay, whatever they are clicking makes sense. Like the actions, like the effects make sense. And also you need to allow for simple tapping and swiping. You need to make clickable buttons stand out. Like if you are building stuff, if it's like an app or a game or whatever it is, you need to make clickable buttons stand out. And I put something here in brackets, the notorious fat finger problem, because these kids, they are lovely. Some of them they work more with like their thumb. Like if you watch closely, because all of this I've done this because I've done like a lot of like study, observations, and like discussion with these kids for me to like able to like come up with all of this. If you watch them closely, if they're like operating like a tab, you give them like a tab or a phone, they're always like holding it. It's just like their thumb that is like available, and the fat thumb problem. So if buttons or things are too small, they might not be able to like click it properly. So you need to make clickable buttons like stand out because of their fat fingers, and also allow for swiping and tapping, because yeah, they are clumsy. So don't put so much in that, oh, they need to like click, like let's say set their password. First of all, they don't know how to read or write. So just tap and swipe. If you notice, I think kids within this age, I'm trying to think of apps that I can relate to. I think Talking Tom, some of us would have like interacted with Talking Tom. If you go back to that app, you see that all these like tapping, swiping, buttons, sounds, effect, animations, they really did a lot with Talking Tom, because yeah, some 2-year-old, they play with it. There's still some that are for like this particular age group. Talking Tom can still work for kids between the ages of, let's say, 3 to 6, because yeah, they still added some effects that can work for them. But yeah, like I said, all of this needs to be there. Remember, they don't even know how to read, so you need to make use of more visual cues like animations than text. Because what are you putting text for? Except it's the parents you're putting the text for, like privacy and setting and stuff like that for them. Because kids within this age, they can't read. So why are you packing text into this product? So use more of visual cues. Like I said, sounds, animations to give positive feedback. So they love feedback, they love your hearing sound. Way to go, good job. And if you notice, like if they hear the sound, they're trying to muffle like the words. Good job. Like they're trying to, because they've not started talking yet. They're just like making sounds, right? Trying to imitate the sound, because they mirror a lot of things. And lastly, is also very important. This age group, they have trouble grasping three-dimensional shapes. So make sure that your design sticks to 2 dimensions only. I'm going to speed up. I think time was sped up. Fast spent your time. So yeah, make sure your design sticks to like 2 dimensions only. And I think I've spoken a little bit about the curious ones, the curious kid, which is 3 to 6 years. I spoke about, there are a lot more curious this ones. They're asking a lot of questions and stuff. They want to know why things are the way they are. Something that is really key, I think I would have put that as like the first point here, is make sure that whatever you're doing, you create room for imagination and exploration for this particular group of kids, because they are at this stage, they're curious, they want to know why things are happening the way they are. So don't just put things allow room for imagination, exploration. Okay, they do this, this will happen. They'll be like, oh, they can tell, okay, this is why this is like this. So make sure you put stuff, elements like that. Also, your interfaces should be more intuitive, like without like a tutorial. They should be able to like grasp it. They don't need to go through tutorials to be able to understand what your product is about. Also, make simple, short, rewarding tasks, because like I said, they have like short time attention span. So make sure they're like simple, short, rewarding tasks. Okay, they just play a particular thing. Yay! Immediately they unlock a particular thing. They get a coin. They get a reward for it. And also allow for collaboration with peers and parents. Like, oh, mommy, come and play with me. Oh, I think there's one like feed something, like all these farm games. You say, oh, mommy, let's play. Let's feed the chickens and stuff like that, because this is also a stage where they are getting to like interact with other kids their age, also their parents and stuff like that. So allow your products to like allow for collaboration with peers. Then for the logical kids, you need to like incorporate like positive feedbacks to these ones. Add reward systems for them, because they want to know, okay, yeah, because at this particular point, they value friendship. Don't forget that. They value friendship. So add stuff that they can share with people around them, like their friends, family, and stuff like that. Also, show, don't tell, because remember, they're like the logical ones. They believe, okay, I'm smart enough. So show them. When I say show them, because I can make an example for one of my products, Time Machine. So we built the app for that particular age range, like learn how to tell the time. So we also wanted to add like an hint option in case they miss it. But we don't like add like text and all of that. We just like show them like with the hour hand, or if the hour hand moves this way, it's like half an hour, stuff like that. So you show them, you don't like tell them the answer, like tell them what they need to do. Just show them. They can like, they want to try to figure it out by themselves. So that's what I mean by show, don't tell. Then the identity explorers. Yeah, so these types, I remember they are like the smart ones. They are forming experts. So it's better you provide feedback like at the end of the task. Don't try to explain a lot of things to them. I don't even notice some of them. They don't like reading manuals or reading instructions. They believe, oh, I can do this. I can figure it out on my own. But when they fail, they'll go back to the manual. I'm like, okay, let me see. What did I miss? What did I not do? So try to like provide feedback for them at the end. Don't be sending feedback like every second, like, what's a go? Good job. They become irritated. They'll be like, this is for babies. Yeah, so stuff like that you need to take into account. Also, you need to make the games easy to learn, but hard to master. They want to like, they feel like a sense of achievement when they're like, oh, this thing took me time, it took me efforts, and I was able to do it. Let it be easy for them to understand, like keeping simple stupid. I think a lot of us have heard of that word, keep it simple stupid. The kiss analogy. So whatever you're doing, make sure that, okay, every task you're trying to do, okay, make it ensure that the simplicity is there. So also make room for exploration too, and let the kids rule. They want to be in control. A product that can make an example of this is, I think, I don't know if any of us know of like Roblox. So kids within this age group, they are very big on Roblox, because Roblox is easy for you to understand the game, but to master it, it takes efforts, it takes time. Me, I don't understand Roblox. That thing confuses me. I don't know how kids within this age understand it, but they shall understand it. And Roblox allows room for exploration, and that's why I think they love it, and makes kids know, okay, they're in control to an extent. So kids in this age range, they love it and stuff like that. So these are things like you take into account when you're building for this set of users. Then we're coming to a close shortly. Let's say you're done building for them. Yeah, you have taken all of this account, all of the pointers I've given to you. You have taken into account. You have built your products. Yeah, you need to like test it out with them. You need to ensure that, okay, what you did actually works. And testing with kids, I can't like, this is another like sweet part when you're testing with kids, because it's different when you're testing with adults. You can tell adults, oh, I want you to test my product. Some of them, you can even give them incentive, like money, complete this survey for me, test out this product for me. Did it break? Did it not break? How do you want to be talking to 2-year-old or 3-year-old? Did it break? Did it not break? they will not understand what you're saying. So it takes like a specific type of skills conducting user research with kids. And that's why I also wanted to speak on that. So when you're doing this, I broke into two parts. There's the getting started, the planning and preparation phase, and there is the during the session phase. So getting started, planning and preparation, some of the things that you need to take into account is, first of all, you need to decide, is it remote or is it in-person testing? Because of the whole pandemic, so a lot of people are doing like, oh, you might say, it's not just to like send it to the parents, let them test it out with their kids and let me know what they think. Yeah, you can do that, but when you're conducting tests for kids under the age of like 10, I will advise you, in-person is best, because remember, there are so many things that word of mouth, like whatever the parents tell you, video, because they get easily distracted. They're not even there. You're looking at them from, let's say, from Google Meet or whatever, and they get distracted. Oh, mom, you're talking to them. Oh, from nowhere, yeah, daddy, they'll run off and leave your screen and stuff like that. You can't really control the environment because you are not there. So it is important that for this particular group of users, you do conduct the test with them in person, because it gives you an opportunity to observe how they interact with your game, their facial expressions, a lot of things that you can't really get from doing it remote. Yeah, you can try it if you're working with twins, let's say those between the ages of, let's say, 12 above, you can do remote setting, but our advice is better you do in person. Then in terms of recruiting, you might say, how can I get kids? It's not like social media, or like I can say, okay, I'm going to pay whoever that helps me test. So to find participants, you don't be afraid to leverage on your social networks or online forums. You can go to schools, you can leverage on your family and friends. They can come in handy, like, oh, I have a product I'm working, I have an idea, can I test with your kids? If you don't have a child, you can, like, your relatives, schools, church. These are where you see a lot of kids, like, oh, I have this wonderful product idea, I want to like try it out with them. I just want to see how they think. Then lastly, you need to draft out usability questions, because yeah, it's important to have like soft openings. You don't just go to test, like prepare your question you want to ask them, like, did this one work? What do you think about this product? Will you buy? Will you play? Oh god, it's like you don't want to go home with any good results. So you need to like think of like creative ways. First of all, you need to think of like opening questions, like for instance, things that the kids will want to talk about willingly. Because some kids, if you just know that particular question, they will not shut up. They will just keep talking and talking. So stuff like that. So yeah, it's important to have like a soft opening question, like what's your favorite game, what's your favorite subject, and stuff like that. Then during the session, you need to design the flow activity. Like with the research tasks needs to be framed in such a way that it creates an environment for the kids to feel at ease. You need to like explain it to them, what the research is all about. And this brings me to like building reports. Rapport is very important, because you really won't be able to get enough insight if you don't like build a rapport. If they don't feel comfortable with you, they won't really share. So you need to make sure the environment is okay. Like you need to ensure that okay, they know that what they are doing, they won't get punished for it. They are allowed to express themselves. It's not bad. Like, oh, they're trying to make sure that they like social. When some, like we as adults, we have like this what we think social expectation from us. Like, okay, I think they want us to say yes. I think they want us to say no. So you need to be able to make sure that the kids are comfortable, to let them know that okay, whatever they share is confidential. Like, it's okay. It's good. So you need to be able to build rapport, get the kids to warm up to you. Is very important, or else they will share. And also, you need to use ratings and scale. Yeah, when you're trying, you need to try using pictorial skills. It's not like, from a scale of 1 to 10, how was the process like? Sorry, from a scale of 1 to 10, like the kids will just be like, "What's that saying? What's this auntie saying? Or how difficult was it? Extremely difficult, not so difficult, somewhat difficult." It's already jargons already, and this brings me to avoid using jargons. You need to keep your language simple. So you need to use scales like emojis, things that they can relate with. A smiling emoji, a crying emoji, a not so good emoji. Like you say, okay, how does it make you feel? Okay, pick from here. What do you think? And they can like pick, okay, the smiling one, okay, they are really excited using your product. they pick a sad one. Okay, they are sad when they do this, or they are sad when this thing happens. So these are things you need to take into account when you're testing with kids. And lastly, don't forget to give positive feedback along the way. I can't stress this enough. Like, ensure that you give them positive, oh, good job, well to go, you're doing it right. Like, just encourage them. You need to be warm. Like, working with kids, you need to really be warm. Yeah. And I think, yeah. So just before we go, key takeaways that I don't want any of us to forget. Like I said, kids are like adults. They need a reason to use a site or an app. And they need this reason to be evident right from the start. So don't say, it's not just kids. I'll just throw colors, throw big text. That is it. Nah, that's not it. Don't think beauty for kids is just colors and big text that they can read. So it needs to have like a purpose. And also, when you're beauty for kids, remember to keep it simple, stupid. Remember, kids, keep it simple, stupid. Like simplicity. Try to like break down tasks. Don't make it too heavy. Don't forget, even though the 8 to 10, 12, they tend to feel like they are expert or smart, but please, keep it simple, stupid. Then before carrying out usability testing, ensure you build your rapport with your participants, with the kids. It's important. And then lastly, kids are not just kids. They are complex, diverse group of fascinating individuals, each with their own competencies, interests, and challenges. And uncovering all of this is essential when making a product they will love and use at the end. So, yeah, I think, yes, that has brought us to the end of today's section. Any question, guys?
Wow. Thank you very, very, very much for breaking all of this down. Like, I was just looking like this person must have known, like, he must have studied kids. The way you're just bringing instances, and the way you're just more like you know them so well. Like you have done your research. Clapping for you. Thank you very much for this session. Guys, please, if you have questions for Bridget, please let's ask our questions. Like now. Let's ask our questions. So you can just raise your hands if you have questions for Bridget before we end this session. Any question, guys? Bridget is open to answer our questions. So if you have a question, you can just type it in the chat box or you raise your hand. All right, we have George Adowe. George, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Bridget.
Hi, George.
Yeah, how
Yeah, your voice is
okay. Is it better now? Hello?
yes, much better. You can go ahead.
It was very eye-opening. So what I wanted to just ask is how do you guys like get around like the design, right, for their type of product? Is it like they are like design systems for designing for kids? Because I don't know if like it will be easy to like meet a UI UX guy that has any experience, with designing, a product for kids. I know that would be like a real challenge. So is there like places where someone can see like templates on how to, design products for kids or something? That's just...
Yeah, hi George. Thanks for that. Yeah. So I'm not sure there's like a one template that works for everyone. So like I said, coming to this space, I had to like do a lot of like study, research, also observing these kids because it's very important. And yeah, you just spoke about designers. Like I know I've had like issues, have some wonderful experiences with my designers.
How do you navigate the designers to be able to like achieve like that kind of system where you can be able to like, because most of the designers I work for are used to building for adults. So how do they?
Yeah. So what I did was because I can speak from experience because one of my designer, He's really great with building for like designing for adults. And coming to this space, it was a bit difficult for him. He struggled a bit, which he spoke to me about. And he asked me, okay, Bri, how did you do it? Like, I told him from my experience, like, I've not built for kids before. This is my first time. But like, okay, how are you doing? How are you knowing all these things? I'm like, it's from reading and research. I said, okay, I can share some documents with you. And also, sometimes I give him some like feedback in terms of his design, and he's like pushing back, oh no, this is how I think it should work. And I'm like, for this type of audience, the kids, don't forget the kids you're building for. You're like, no, he doesn't think so. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm going to do usability testing. I'm going to do like A/B testing. We did that a couple of times with kids. And I told him, you're going to be present in this session. You need to observe how these kids interact with your product. See how they interact with your design. And we did that for like 2-3 times, like 2 different sessions, and it kind of like opened up his eyes. We're like, oh, I see what you mean here. And going forward, he'll be the one reaching out to me. But currently, we're working on the products right now in my team. And today, on a Sunday, this same designer I'm talking about that had issues sent me a message like, oh, Bridget, I'm thinking about something for the product we're building, how we're going to use our mascot, how they're going to come out. On a Sunday, like I'm having ideas. Like, he has changed. All to glory to God, but he has changed. He has changed. And right now, he'll be the one thinking, okay, also doing all of this, you need to also be able to like interact with products that these kids work with. So remember, don't forget I said that you need to know, okay, who are the specific audience. So it's not, you're not building, when you say kids, not just say 8 to 12. You need to define this subset. Okay, if it's 5-year-old, what are the type of things that 5-year-old interact with? Go and look at how those people designed it, especially the ones that these 5-year-olds are crazy about. Look at it. You can pick up 1 or 2 things from there. And that is what I also advise my designers to do. Look at all these designs. What can you pick up from there? And let's look at how we can incorporate it into what we are designing or building for. I hope I was able to answer your question, George.
Excellently. Like, very excellent. Thank you very much. I just have one more question. I'm sorry for
okay, sure. It's fine.
All right, so sorry, I have kids, and like I like download games for them and all, and so like I get to experience it. And my mom wanted me to do something for her because she has this one. So the next question was like monetization, like it's like I download for my son if he's playing. Because I noticed that there are a couple of them that they find a way to get people to monetize, but some of them they put ads, and the thing really irritates him because it's really small. So I wanted to know, like, the products you built, is there a way like you're monetizing them? Because that's where the parent comes in. How do you guys, find a way to make sure that you are able to maybe create some incentive for, maybe as the child is playing, they can now tell their parent that they want, this type of part of it to work. How do you guys work around like monetization? Like children, and most parents will not know to like buy the product first. They may want the child to first of all like it. So how do you guys go about that?
All right, George, this question you just asked is a separate topic on its own, but I'm going to try to summarize it because we are still learning and trying out things, still researching this particular thing that you just spoke about. Monetization for kids related products is not something that's pretty straightforward like what we have out there. So it's not one shoe fits all, one shoe size fits all. So you need to like try stuff. And we have like a couple that want to try out, and there are still some that like exist out there that people are trying out, and it might or might not be working out for them. So one that you spoke about was the ads. Yeah, so make use of ads. Okay, make the product completely free. Make use of ads, and they get their money from ads. And yes, like you said, it's irritating. Some people, it irritates them. Even me, it irritates me. My manager irritates her. So we're trying to make sure that we don't go into the ads aspect because ads can be irritating, and we don't want our users feeling irritated. So another aspect is also subscription based, like packages. So some of these products, they'll have like free trials, like freemium, where they get kids like hooked. So as product people, I don't know if you are conversant with like the hook model. So the hook model comes about the creating like the right habit forming products. So you get the trigger, the action, the habit, the trigger, the action, the reward and stuff like that. So you need to like, okay, how do we get users hooked? Because like you said, it's not the kids that are paying for it, it's the parents. So you need to be able to understand what are the needs of what are the needs of the parents of these kids using your app, because they are the ones that are going to pay for it. You need to be able to like position your product in such a way that it speaks to the needs of the parents as well as speaks to the needs of the kids. Because if the kids love it, the parents that don't love it, the money will not come. So this goes into further like research. Okay, how do we position in such a way that how do I package my products? And you can't do this on your own. You need to like speak to these parents. You need to get into conversations just the same way you do your research and stuff like that for your other products. Okay, how do we break into the market? It's the same thing building for kids. So it's not like it's a different approach to doing this. It's still the same approach. You need to understand, okay, how do I get my product such a way that without my products, the parents will not be able to function. Sorry, I don't want us to build like bad habits, but how do I do this such a way that the parents will be willing to pay? So yeah, I spoke about ads, I spoke about subscription base, and there's still like a couple if you like look into it. Like I said, this monetization is a big topic on its own that I can't really speak more on right now. Judge.
All right, thank you very much. You already shed a lot of light. You brought some.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, thank you very much, Bridget, for answering that question. So, guys, do we have more questions for Bridget before we call it a night?
Hi, Bridget. It's Divine.
Hi, Divine.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the session. I wanted to ask one thing. You actually started answering my question at the end of the last question you're answering. I wanted to ask for the methods you employ when you want to conduct user surveys for kids, because you also talked about talking to their parents as well. Normally, traditionally, people might conduct surveys like using forms or listener interviews for adults and all that, going on social media to get insights from people's feedback. But how do you get feedback from children? And how do you get to empathize with them, especially for people that maybe they don't have kids, like just found themselves in places where they had to do things for children?
Okay. So to answer the question in terms of questions, so the typical method that we're used to, like surveys, forms, and stuff like that. So when conducting research, there are so many methods that you can employ. You can do like questionnaires, you can do face-to-face interviews, you can do focus groups and the likes. Something that I'm really like heavy on is the focus group aspect, like especially for this type of users, because when you want to do like, let's say, survey like questionnaires and stuff like that, they're like direct questions. And building for kids, let me speak about the kids before the parents. Building for kids, like I spoke about in the beginning of this session, they have like a wide imaginations, and they have, if you like ask them a particular they won't shut up. Like they will keep talking about it. And like 10 questions, just ask them directly. We'll do a trick for this kind of thing. Because they're beautiful, they're trying to understand the space or the they're in. So you need like a deeper conversations with them. So if I'm to advise, I say go for focus group. That's what I love, because you give it an opportunity to like get like the demographic of users that you're trying to build for. You can like have rapport with them. They are free, and they also have like peers around them. They'll be willing to share because the environment is more free, comfortable for them, and you can like go into deeper. So if you want to do research, our advice, go for focus.
The network is really bad
For this type of users, and also for parents. Yeah, You need to be able to
Okay.
like frame your questions in such a way to get particular insight you're trying to drive at from these parents. And yeah, you can also do focus group, but parents are like they're quite busy, so they don't really have like enough time to like close
Yeah, it's
down
better. Better.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Ryan, can you hear me? Okay, great. Okay, great. Yeah. So something that we just to put into mind is I know I used to like
Network is really
like add some options that you think they'll probably I am sorry, people of God. I apologize. Is it better?
yes, it just
Yes, Bridget, it's a bit better.
Yo. Okay, sorry about that. So let me just wrap up. So like, okay, make use of close-ended questions, open-ended questions. Yeah, make use of close-ended questions when you're working with like parents. And for kids, try to do like focus group to really get the insights you're looking for.
okay. Thank you. And the same strategy works for feedback, right? Like when they're already using the app, they want feedback. It works for that too. Right?
So for feedback, you need to do. It has to be in person. You need to like observe them. So when they're already using the app, it's easier when you watch them use it, and they can tell you from there. Like I spoke about in person testing. So it's better if you are there, like you can watch and observe how they are interacting with your product. If they have any issues, you can quickly like speak to them about it. Then they're out like right there. So for feedback, I would advise in person testing.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Bridget. Time is fast spent. So guys, if you have any other question or you want to get to connect with Bridget, you can connect with Bridget on Twitter at Iyere4 and on LinkedIn at Bridget Iyere. And you can just, tag Bridget on the things that you have learned today. You can also tag InnovaLab on Instagram at InnovaLabNG, on Twitter at InnovaLab, and on LinkedIn at InnovaLab. Thank you all very much for joining today's product session. I believe you had a swell time and you have learned a thing or two about building digital products for kids. Thank you so much, Bridget, for the insightful session.